Everyone's talking about AI, everyone's talking about what all it can do, taking away jobs, not taking away jobs. That's a conversation for the next time. I think today we are going to talk about how important data quality is for AI and why it's not a good to have but a need to have at the moment because of all the um, decisions and conversations that it is involved in. And let's get started. So, suppose you have a self driving car, like it's the new thing coming up, and it's some places it's already there, and you have this whole technology, but the street sign is wrong. The labeling is wrong. It cannot identify the car from a truck and all of that. What can be the results of it? It can be disastrous. Um, why? That is why the street sign needs to be correct. That is why a car needs to be correctly labeled as a car and not a truck. Now, in healthcare, that is where I work in actually, and you see all of this AI getting into patient records, suggesting you all the diagnosis, and that AI being used in medical imaging and all of those areas, patient um, recovery and getting the medical diagnostics. And if the images are not labeled correctly and there is data quality issue, the patient record is not managed correctly, it can be disastrous. So let's see what is basically the, when I say the data quality, what I actually mean and what we are currently facing with the data quality issues. First one is missing values. I know a lot of, like almost everyone must have dealt with missing values, duplicates, inconsistent formats, the date format specifically, outliers. I mean, if I consider Jeff Bezos's marriage budget and my marriage budget, it's way, like, I don't know, depending on the data set, which one's the outlier. There's outdated information, previous wife, new wife, all of that information. So you need to be up to date with everything, and to give the correct information. What is the right data quality that I'm talking about? Consistency. You have to be consistent over time. It cannot be today I want to do dates MMDDYYY. Tomorrow I want to do DDMMYYY. You have to decide. Complete. All the street signs are labeled. The stop signs are captured. Daytime, nighttime, different lightning, sunlight, cloudiness, all of that. Accuracy, how accurate my data is, how frequently it gets updated, and what is the relevance of it. Now, if I have to train an autonomous car and I feed it the patient record, that's not the relevant data set. So the relevance of the data set. Some of the data profiling and assessment tools that we can use. First of all, we should profile our data. There should be statistical analysis to examine the distribution, central tendency, dispersion, and to understand our data patterns. Identify all our data elements and detect anomalies. We can use correlation analysis to reveal hidden dependencies in your data set. There can be structural analysis that you need to do to validate your data types, formats, adherence, and depending on what business rules you are trying to accomplish. Once you have identified this, now you have to clean your data. You have to handle your missing values, various techniques, mean, median. Then there can be predictive models that can be implemented. You need to remove duplicates using fuzzy matching to identify and eliminate the redundant records. Standardize data formats across different systems and treat outliers, whether you want to keep it depending on your range of values. It cannot be done over one step. It's multiple steps that you need to perform your data to maintain your data quality check. So we did cleansing. Now we are validating. There can be rule-based approach There's statistical validation where you can do z-score analysis, distribution sets, and trend analysis. And then there can be external validation where you can cross-reference your data across different external authoritative sources. Like if you're trying to look for an address, you can compare the address to the postal service data. Another very important part of data quality is you cannot do it manually. It's a lot of data we deal with every day. Everything needs to be automated. The more automated it is, I think there is less chance of human error. So define your quality rules, set clear expectations for your data quality dimensions, monitor your data consistently over time to make sure that it has not diverted a lot from its source, and implement pipeline checks in your data pipelines, and configure alerts to set up notifications for anomalies and threshold violations. This can help you identify and address data quality issues quickly and efficiently rather than you manually keeping checking them. Then there is AI-powered data quality enhancement. Now AI can help with data quality in AI. That's the nice part of it. So there are different tools that can be used, like Data Robot and Trifacta, that now offer intelligent features that learn from data correction patterns and improve over time. These tools can automate many of the manual data quality tasks, freeing up your team to focus on the machine learning algorithms and strategic initiatives. This slide, I used to not pay a lot of attention to data governance, honestly, but since my time in a regulated industry, I have realized the importance of this and how important and how need of the hour it is to govern your data, even and establish data quality standards. So I think because of sensitive, if you're dealing with sensitive data, there's security that has to be implemented. Data lineage tracking to understand origin and transformation, version controlling to maintain dataset and model versions, and access control to restrict access for sensitive data to ensure compliance and relevant regulations in the industry standards. Now, when you build an AI or ML model, there's a very high probability that you're dealing with multiple data sources. So first of all, map all your data sources, meticulously document their characteristics, the type of data they contain, how frequently they are updated, the quality issues. Then convert the format conversion. I think this always comes in because when you're dealing with different types of sources, there can be legacy sources, the new type of data sources, and they can have disparate formats, and it needs standardizing all over time. Then there is unified access, obviously, because you bring all of it in a single data lake or a data warehouse, and that needs to be controlled. There's metadata management. Now there's different kinds of metadatas. There's technical, there's business, where you define your ownership policies and usage. There's operational, where you see the lineage, logs, and everything to make sure your pipelines are working correctly and metrics quality is maintained. And there's social metadata, where you can encompass patterns, ratings, annotations. So effective metadata management is essential for ensuring compatibility with AI frameworks, providing domain context for the model and development, and improving the relevance of AI recommendations. Oh, bias detection, my favorite topic. We know COVID, there was a vaccine developed, but there was also the study that says that because COVID vaccine, the sample that was on which it was tested, that had lesser females than male ratio, and the effects of the vaccine are sort of different on females as compared to males. So it is very important to understand the bias in your data. You can use statistical methods to detect imbalances in your training data, and then you can measure its impact to make sure like the effect and consequences are reduced. You need to modify your data to mitigate the bias. This could involve rebalancing data set through sampling, synthetic data integration, generation, and removing or transforming biased features by relabeling data. And then the model needs to be adjusted for fairness constraints. This involves like fairness aware algorithms, regularization terms that penalize biased predictions, and calibrating model outputs to ensure equal opportunity. Data augmentation. Now, autonomous vehicles that I've been talking about, all scenarios cannot be captured live. There can be accidents, and that needs to be captured. And so it cannot be like you cannot have all situations. There are so many situations that happen across, but you need to keep your model prepared for it, for that unwanted scenario. And for that, data augmentation strategies are a good way to go. Quality assurance in data labeling. There are multiple annotators that can be used to make sure that every item is identified correctly and measured agreement with metrics. There are gold standards that create pre-labeled examples to evaluate annotator performance. Then there's progressive training, where your model actually learns and provides feedback so that you can, it's a feedback loop that can be established. And then there's automated assistance, where semi-automated tools to pre-label data and streamline review. And you can also establish rule-based checks. That's very common to catch labeling errors. This I have already talked about, version controlling and data lineage changes to make sure that your model is not getting skewed because of the data that's in there. So to make everyone's life easy, high quality data is what we need at the moment, and I think it's the need of the hour, and we just cannot give this responsibility to like 4 people in a room, or like 2 people deciding. It's everyone's responsibility at the end, and we need to embrace it to make sure we have the right, as we move into a world that's more integrated with AI, we get better responses, and we can truly unlock its potential and achieve our business goals. That's everything that I had for today.